How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Day Dave, and this is an early access map tour for a mod map here for Farming Simulator 25, likely on all platforms, called Drumard Farms. Now, as this is early access, I don't have a description to read off of, but I do have some of the kind of overview information. So starting off with, this is a map created by Cavalier Roy, MonkeyShowModding, with a special acknowledgement to Scuderia. The file size will be roughly 487.2 megabytes to install, and there will be no mods required for this map. Now, Cavalier Roy did give me a little bit of information in regards to this map, and it reads, made and released back in FS17 by Scuderia as a small Irish map using in-real-life data for the dairy farm. Scuderia gave me permission to bring the map forward to Farming Simulator 25 some 8 years since it was released, feeling it was a good time for the Farming Simulator franchise to bring the map back. The map has been kept as close to how it was originally designed while adding all the features for Farming Simulator 25 and bringing terrain, background, etc. up to date with what we are used to seeing in Farming Simulator 25. As I mentioned, Cavalier Roy also gives special acknowledgement to Scuderia, stating, credits, however, goes to Scuderia for not only giving me access to bringing this map back, but also allowing me to make the changes that I have made. I will be linking Scuderia's YouTube channel in the description below. If you're interested in following them, please check out that link. Now, I did do some digging. I did find the original description from Farming Simulator 17 of Drumard Farms, and it reads, Drumard Farms is based around a real working beef farm in the green fields of Ireland, Co. Louth. There are two farms, Drumard Farms, where the cows and sheep can be found, and Drumard Arable Farm, where the pigs are located. The map features are two working farms, one of which has the grain silo located at, two forestry areas around the map, one cell area with two cell points, Drumard Grains 1 and 2, for the various crops, low-cost storage area at Drumard Grains so you can store your crops when waiting on great demand. There is also a low-cost fee at this facility, seed and fertilizer points at Drumard Arable Farm. Prices have also been increased. Missions on all fields not owned to help get those field prices down. Please be aware all hedges, fences, and walls have collisions. However, there are sizable grass headlands around the fields to help those workers out. Automatic gates and lights on most of the farm and farm buildings. And if we take a look at the map, this is what it looks like. We go ahead and deactivate all the fields and go over to our farmlands. We start out by owning farmlands number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 27, 32, 33, 34, 249, 252, 253, and 254. Farmland number 4, which is all the way up here, is a empty field. There's no product in it. 5 is a canola field ready to harvest. 6 is a canola field ready to harvest. 7 is a pea field that is growing. 8 is a parsnip field that is growing. 9 is a grass field. Actually, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's see, 27 and 32. All the way, where is 32? 32. Those are all grass fields. All of them are ready to harvest. 33 is a potato field that is growing. 34 over here is another grass field ready to harvest. 249 is this plot of land right here, and that is the part 2 of your main starting farm. That is essentially the Arable's farm, as said in the description. We have 252, which is down here. That is a placeable area. And then we have 253 right here, which is our sheep pasture. And then 254 over here, which is our main starting farm. This is the area that is mainly for your cows and sheep. You cannot purchase all areas of the map. As you can see right over here, there is a small sliver within town that is not purchasable. And then if we take a look at our animals, we do obviously have animal pens available to us. We have the sheep pasture, cow barn, and pig pasture. Contracts are available on this map. There are production chains that you do start out with. You start out with the biogas plant, and you do have other production points that are available, and there are collectibles available on this map, 25 of them to be precise. One thing I forgot to do is show all the fields around and their various prices. Field prices do vary, but we do get some good range in pricing. So starting out here, we have 146,000, 75,000, 65,000, 210. We've got 212, 126, 135. Down here we got 169. Way down here we have 356, 347, 242, and so on and so forth. So you do get a pretty wide range, and you can start out by growing into some of these smaller fields and then grow into the bigger ones later on in your play. Now, if we take a look at mods specific to this map, starting out under the buy menu, we do have a mods and DLCs tab right here for Drumard Farms, and we can see that we have all these various tankers here that have been modified to take, this one will take electricity and methane. This normally just takes diesel. This one has been modified for your methane, as well as this one as well. And then if we look under the build menu, starting out over here, now under the buildings and sheds, we scroll all the way down to the bottom. You'll see Drumard Farm mod. Those are mods specific to this map. There's also some here under silos going all the way down here. Got that there. Nothing under silo extensions or constructibles, but under containers. Again, we do have a few containers here that are specific to this map. Nothing for tools. Whoops, nothing for tools. And nothing for farmhouses. Under factories and productions, we do have, whoops, oh my goodness. There we go. Scroll all the way down. We do have several Drumard Farm mods that are specific to this map. Nothing under selling points, greenhouses, cultivation, or generators. Then under our animals tab, we do have some here for our cows. Nothing for horses. Under pigs, we do have some here as well, as you can see. We do have some for sheep. Again, as you can see down at the very bottom. Oh my, oh my. There we go. And then under chickens, we do have some here as well. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. There we go. And then lastly, for bees, there are none, as well as others, there are none. Under the decorations tab and fences, scroll all the way down. We do have a couple here as well that are mods specific to this map. Nothing for lights, others, or decorations. And then under landscaping, we do have several additional painting swatches here for this map. We do have several trees that are specific to this map as well. As you can see, Drumard Farm mods, and then nothing for plants. Now we do start here at the starting farm, so let's take a look at some of our starting equipment. Starting out with the, no, it was on the right tab, right here. All right, we start out with the Agrimaz POV5XL plow, the Amazon Senio 4000 Super cultivator, the Amazon ZATS 3200 fertilizer spreader, the Albert Bale Spike. We have a Braid LK105 fertilizer and lime spreader, the Bednar Omega Double Aught 6000 FL seeder, the Branther DD24073 2XXL trailer. We have the Elho Scorpio 550 stone picker, the Ferguson PF 2.24 plus mixing wagon, the Fendt 516 Vario, the Flegel PFW 18000 Maxline Plus slurry spreader. We got the Gavile Vario Master V140 baler. We have the HA DST16 manure spreader, the Halaris Stego 485 Pro. This is the kind of front compaction weight for your bunker silos. The Lizard MKS8, this is the modified version that will take the methane. The Massey Ferguson 7S210. We have the Massey Ferguson 8570 harvester, harvester header, harvester header trailer, a New Holland T7300, the Pottinger Faro 4010D forage wagon. We have the Quickie Q7M front loader, the Rudolph TDK 301 RP trailer, the Samaz KDF 341S front mower, the Samaz P8890 tedder, the Samaz XT390 rear deck mower, the Samaz Z2 840H windrower, and that's it. That is everything for your starting farm. Now, we're going to start here on the main starting farm for what I'm going to refer to as part 1. Part 2 is going to be the arable farm. So Let's start over here. Directly behind me is a sleep trigger. Over here, we have our wardrobe trigger right there. Over here, we have our biomass heating plant cell point right here. Around this side of the building, we have a water trigger right there and a fuel tank where we can purchase fuel right here. And around the back side over here, we have our biogas plant. Now, this one is set up very unique. As you can see, the trigger for it is right here. And we have our typical ins and outs for our biogas plant. You can see manure, silage, slurry, and sugar beets cut. We have our input and output for our liquids right here. So we have our input for liquids and our output for digestate right here. And then our solid input is right here. Over here, we have a bunker silo. Now, as I round the corner over here, before I get too far, I want to stop right about here. We do have our slurry output for our cow barn right there, but as I approached this little gate right here, I wish I would have read the description from the previous iteration from FS17 sooner, because as I was doing my initial walkthrough, this happened. Gate came flying out at me. I wasn't expecting it, and then scared the bejeebers out of me. Yeah, needless to say, once I learned that, the heart attacks came less and less, but it's one of those, was not expecting that. We have our cow barn right here with room for 738 cows. We start out with 50 of them. As you can see, if I click into this, 50 out of 738. Very, very nice. We have our feed trigger right here. If we come around this side, again, the gate will open. There are no collisions on the gates, as you saw right there. You can just pass right through them, whether it's yourself or your vehicles. Milk trigger is right there. And then there is a manure heap right over in the corner, right over there. Now we're going to come up the garageway here. We're going to grab the Massey. And we're going to start making our way around. So first things first, we need to go out behind the sheds over here. And then follow this up here. Back here is our sheep pasture. So we'll stop right here. So we have room for 712 sheep or goats. We start out with 100 of them. Now, water goes here, feed goes here. You can load your animals in right there, and our milk or our wool will spawn right here. Get turned around. Follow this road. Oops. Out here, right beside our farm, we're actually going to come out and pass right beside it, off in this direction. To right down here, directly in front of me, is the dairy. So we can purchase the dairy right over here for $36,000. We have our output here, input right here. Get turned around. And now we're going to head back towards the farm, but we're just going to skirt right past it. A little bit of backtracking. So here we'll make a right. And then we'll start heading away from this part of the farm. And right over here, whoops, cut that a little too close. Over here we have the spinnery. You can purchase the spinnery for, again, $36,000. Output here and input right over here. So we'll get turned around once again. And now we'll follow this all the way out to our kind of main exit from the farm. All right, so the main road is right here. We'll make a right. We'll make sure we'll stay on the left side of the road because this is supposed to be Ireland, so they drive on the left side. And as we follow this around, we'll come up to our next set of interests just around the corner over here. Following this car ever so slightly with a left, followed by an immediate right. And this is still the main farm, but this is what we're going to refer to as part 2, or the Arable farm. Now over here, if I stop, we have a Karma 16 silo, a liquids tank, and a solids tank. Now I'm referring to them because if we come up here, the Karma 16, you can purchase seeds and mineral feed. I refer to this as the liquids tank, even though it says liquid fertilizer tank, because you can purchase herbicide or liquid fertilizer. And solids tank, because again, you can purchase lime or solid fertilizer. So it's not just those one standard kind of crops that you can put in there, or consumables that you can put in there. We have a water trigger off to my right, and another fuel tank right there. Now to my right, we have our main farm silo right here. This is the input for the farm silo. And I believe tucked away way back here in the corner, right here is the output for the silo. We'll get turned around. We'll come out through the gap here to the pig pasture. Now you can have up to 82 pigs, 0 to start out with. We have our feed go here, water go there, and because this is a pasture, it doesn't show anything to do with straw here, so you can't produce any manure or anything along those lines. Now I don't, actually that kind of dawned on me. It doesn't say anything about slurry either in the description there, so this does not produce slurry at all either. I guess not. So yeah, I mean, you're basically using this to fatten up your pigs. All right, well, let's go ahead and head out of here, and we'll go check out some more points of interest. As we come back out to the main road, we'll make a left. And then we'll follow this road all the way back to our next point of interest. It's tucked way back here into the woods. All right, come up to this clearing right up here. And we'll stop. Over here, we have the sawmill. You can purchase a sawmill for $166,000. Wood chips are out here. We have our input for lumber right there, wood cell trigger there, and our output for our products is right here. Okay, now go ahead and head back out to the main road. We'll catch our next points of interest. Make a left here. And now we'll follow this down the road a little ways until we get to our next point of interest. make a right. And then we'll follow this just back here a ways. We'll come to a stop right here. Over here is the main shop trigger. Right there. Repair trigger is tucked away back here. Go ahead and hop back in the tractor. Coming into town. And approaching here on my left. Stop there. And here we have the Preserved Food Factory. You can purchase this for $36,000. And we have our output right here and input right here. Across the way, we have the tailor shop for $36,000. You can purchase this. We have our output right here and input right here. Tractor is right back here. Let's head back down the road a little ways. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn and park this right here, but I'm going to continue on down the road in this direction for our next point of interest. Over here is the bakery. You can purchase the bakery for $36,000 and output here and input right here. Run back to the tractor. Now to my right is the Big Farmer's Kiosk. Now I will say that this is going to be a unique sell point because you're not going to be able to fit most trailers or anything like that through this little gap right here. You're going to have to unload everything and bring it right over to here. So you're going to have to come up with creative ways, or you're going to have a small like front loader or something like that you're going to have to bring over here with your trailers in order to unload. Now coming back here is where our last set of interests are held. Off to my left is the animal dealer sell point. To my right is the actual animal dealer. Now, if you purchase animals from the animal dealer directly using this icon, or using this same icon at any of the pens and pastures around the map, you will incur an additional fee. That fee is associated to a delivery fee. The animal dealer is taking the animals from this location and delivering them to your pens and pastures for you on delivering for them for you. Now, that fee can get a bit much. An adult cow costs an extra $100 per adult cow on top of the base price. Now, as you can see, as we have room for 738 cows, if we just bought 250 cows, that's an extra 25 grand on top of the $293,000 it would cost for those animals' base price. Now, if you want to save that $25,000, or if you want to continue to save it even more than that, depending on the number of animals that you purchase, you can bring an animal trailer to this location, park it roughly in this area, and then you can use the animal dialogue box. It'll then ask you to load the animals into the trailer itself rather than delivering them to your pens and pastures throughout the map. You can then save that animal delivery fee because you're delivering the animals yourself. Let's get turned back around. Now over here, directly in front of me, is the Drumard sale point, Drumard 2 sale point. We have a slurry buy point directly in front of me. Beyond that, the manure buy point, and beyond that is the bale sell point. On the opposite side of this silo system here is the Drumard 1 sell point. And then tucked away back here, we have a few other points of interest. Right here, we have the grain mill. You can purchase this for $445,980. We have our input for it right here, and output is right here. On this side of the wall, we have our cement factory. $527,980. Can purchase that. Input right here, output in the back right there. Over here, we have the input for the oil mill. It's right there. The oil mill can be purchased around this side of the building. Right here for $240,000, and output for the oil mill is right there. Over here, we have the potato processing plant for $517,980. You can purchase that. We have our output here and input around here. And now our last point of interest directly in front of me is the carpentry. You can purchase this for $300,000 and output right here, input right here with a wood cell trigger just beyond it right here. And that's it. That is everything to show here on Drumard Farms. Now it's time to render my opinion and let you know what I think. But before I do, a huge and special shout out to Cavalier Roy. Roy, thank you so very much for allowing me to participate in this very first early access that I've ever gotten to do. This is a channel first here, so I am extremely excited about this. So let's talk about the map and what I like about this map. So I do genuinely like this map. I think this is a very solid map. It's got a lot of detail to it. I've not played the FS17 version of it. I'm not familiar with it, so I have no good comparison to the original. So I don't know how true it is compared to the original or anything like that. So that kind of aside, I like the color palette. I think the color palette is really sharp. It's got, just basic tones and textures to it. It's not popping with colors or anything like that, so it doesn't feel like real cartoonish or anything like that. It's just got a good solid look to the map. Then you take a look at the undulations and the terrain, and wow, does this map, I mean, for being a small map, because it is, if we look at the map just really fast, because I forgot to show that off earlier, if we zoom out, this is the buyable area, is this kind of square within the original 2x parameters here. So this is all outside of the actual play area. So the fact that all this is being done within I think that's considered like a 1x size of map is incredible. The map feels a lot larger than what it actually is because of the road network. You having to go basically from the main farm where you start out, you're having to go north and east and south, and like you're having to go like out of the way to go into the way kind of thing. So if you're wanting to go to the shops, like we just saw there at the end, you're having to travel around everything in order to get there. And the way that Cavalier Roy sets up his maps in regards to like the hedges and stuff, not being able to kind of work your way through them or find ways to field hop or drive through fields, it's really, really nice, and it forces you into taking specific paths that you may not necessarily want to have to take because you want to save some time, but it forces you to kind of participate in the map as the way it was designed rather than just getting the jobs done. And I like that. I like the fact that you're able to just kind of get from point A to, or that you can't just get to point A to point B. What I also like about it is this. You can see you've got these kind of pastures that are right here beside your farm, but this is not a pasture you can purchase. So one thing I wanted to show off here was if I hop the fences and go up to the spinnery that's right over here and purchase it again for $36,000, well, sometimes if you purchase the production point, it buys the land with it. That's not the case here. You can see if I zoom in, 246 is not purchased, but we still have these animals here. Now, can I purchase this and actually own the animals and do anything with them? Let's try that. No, you can't. It's purely decoration, and I genuinely like that. I like that the mapmaker Cavalier Roy has used animals as a form of deco on this map. It really makes it to where you kind of make the map come alive, and it's not something that you very often see from map makers out there, is that there's just these areas on the map that you really can't necessarily do anything with, but you can just enjoy them as part of the kind of frills and thrills of the scenery of the map. And I think that's really cool. I mean, just looking around this map, the hills, the undulations, everywhere you look, like the sight lines are very much broken up, which is something that I genuinely enjoy because it makes it to where, one, you're not going to see like the kind of far off outside the reticle areas. Now you can see like this field is rather large, so you can see that kind of filling in of the like spatials that are available for your computer to render, or your console, your computer. You have that kind of circle that has the higher definition of rendering, and then beyond that circle is the lower definition of rendering. So unless you come out to these big fields, you really don't see it. And I like that. I like not being able to see the difference. It just keeps everything kind of in a nice high definition range that makes it very nice to view. But yeah, I don't know. It's just something about this map really kind of speaks to me. I do like it. So all in all, I've sat here and kind of complimented it enough. What do I think of this map? 0 to 5 scale as per usual. I think that this map is a solid 4. Solid 4. And I would even say it's approaching a 4.5. I, like I said, really like it. I like how the main farm is developed and built up right here. Now, I know this is based off of real life data, real life farm. So, I mean, it makes sense that this all like ties together and looks really, really good. But if we look here, you can kind of see as we fly in just a kind of layout of the map. I mean, you've got this nice wide open area here, the big slurry lagoon that's all the way in the back. Again, it's just little details like this. Like this lagoon here is, I think, one of my favorite features about this map, because it's just a hole in the ground is what it boils down to. It's a hole in the ground. And that's how you're going to be able to collect your slurry. I think that is just absolute fantastic. And then you got the barns here with the massive amount of cows, like you see on a lot of Cavalier Roy maps, having over 700 cows. You can have like, what was it, like several hundred sheep or goats. I mean, all in all, again, it's just fantastic. I think this is like a nice blend of old school meets new school, plus a kind of style of modding that I really like when it comes to like Cavalier Roy, having the massive animal pens that's going to be able to produce a lot of product very, very quickly, and it's going to require you to get to work like very, very fast. I like and appreciate that, which is why I think a 4.5 approaching a 4 approaching a 4.5 is, yeah, I think it's well deserved for this map. And again, you just look at these undulations. There's some of these areas that are just like the tractor is struggling just by itself to get up to speed, let alone if you're towing something up these hills. Wow, is that going to be something else? That is going to be real gnarly. But yeah, that is it. That's how I feel about this map, and I hope you enjoyed this map tour. If you did, please show me about liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things the algorithms enjoy you doing, as you're engaged with this channel and enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Take care.